Today I'm going to show you how to dehydrate kale in the oven. Now this bowl was heaping full before I got started. I was starting the process and then I thought, hey, I ought to tape it for my friends. So anyway, this is kale from my dad's garden, and he planted quite a bit, and then he harvested some and ate it and decided he didn't really like it. So he said I could have as much of it as I wanted. Well, the thing is I don't particularly like kale either, although kale is a superfood and I know I should be eating it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dehydrate it in the oven. I don't have a regular dehydrator. And then I'm going to grind it up into kind of a powder, and then I'm going to just add it to my cooking as another spice. It's a way to sneak nutrients in and not be overwhelmed by the flavor that you may not particularly enjoy. So anyway, I've got this kale in a bowl of cold water and I've been washing them, and then you take the stems off. It's got these big thick stems here, and then you put it in a salad spinner and you spin it several times until you get it as dry as you possibly can. Then I've got some over here already on this cookie sheet on a paper towel, and I'm going to blot this dry and get that as dry as I can. And then you line cookie sheets with parchment paper, and then you put them in the oven at the lowest setting your oven will go. It's usually right around 170 degrees. Now my oven, I'll show you the knob if you can see it. It just says warm and then it goes up to 200. So I've got my oven set between the warm mark and the 200 mark. So I'm hoping that that is the right temperature. But you put it in there for an hour at 170 degrees, and then you rotate the pans part way through, and after an hour you shut the oven off and leave the pans in for another 45 minutes to an hour, and then you turn your oven back on to 170 degrees and you leave them for another 20 minutes or until they are completely crispy and dry. So I'm going to set my camera up on a tripod so that you can kind of see a little bit of the process as we do this. It's going to be a kind of an all-day project, and hopefully I'll get plenty of kale powder when I'm all done. Okay, so these two pans are ready to go in the oven. They may be a little fuller than they should be, but they will shrink down, and I'll just may have to just stir them a bit because I have more kale here than I thought I was going to have, and I only have 4 cookie sheets, so I'm going to have to make do. So I'm going to go ahead and get these in the oven. I'm going to finish drying off those, get those in the oven, and then I will be back when it is time, when they're completely dried and out of the oven, and I'll show you what that looks like before we go on to the final step. Okay, so here they are all out of the oven and dried up, and they've been cooled down, and you can see that they really shrank up a lot, which I knew they would. They ended up taking about 3 to 3.5 hours in the oven, and I think that's because I put my layers were too thick of the greens, so that's why it took longer. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grind it up in this little spice grinder. I think it'll do a better job than a food processor would. So let me get this set up and I'll be right back. Okay, so this might take a while to get this all done in this little spice grinder, but we'll give it a shot here. If I do this on a more often basis, I'll probably try to figure out a better way of doing it. So let's just see what this does. Oh yeah, it grinds it up all right. And then I've got this canning jar that I'm going to put it in. I'll use a funnel so it doesn't go all over the place. Okay, so that's that. I'm going to go ahead and finish grinding this all up in this manner, and when I get it all done, I'll come back and show you how much I got. Okay guys, believe it or not, that is all we got out of that whole big old metal bowl of kale, fresh kale. It ground down to that. I don't know, maybe like half a cup. So, yeah, I can be harvesting off of that all summer, and I might wind up with half a jar by the end of the summer. But this will add a lot of nutrition to our food, and we won't even know it's there. So that's how I dehydrate kale. It's not a quick process, but it's not a lot of work at all. And you get a lot of good nutrients out of your effort. So if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already subscribed, just hit that red subscribe button, and we'll talk to you later, friends. Bye!